Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Granger Smith Podcast. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you for all the support. I love this. I love this thing. I love this show. I love to get on here and be able to use this platform to speak my mind and talk to some guests and talk to some friends and answer your questions. I do have to say this is episode 44. If you don't know anything about this podcast, if you stumbled on here for the first time, I encourage you to go backwards a little bit at some point. Pace yourself, go backwards. It starts all the way back at episode 1. I started telling the story of where I came from and how I got to be where I am now. And that is with music and my family and my life and here at Yee Yee, the brand. So I started this podcast not really thinking that this was going to be a ton of episodes. Now, I think it is. It's going to be a ton of episodes. But back then, I wanted a long-form explanation of some deep stories from me of where I came from. Because I was so used to being on radio shows where they would say, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And I would say, well, how do you answer that question if you know in the back of your mind you have about 10 seconds of radio time to tell them where you came from or who you are or what's your music about? And so I thought, you know what, I'll start a podcast. I'll answer some of these questions myself and just do it in long form where it takes a while and I could really get into the depths of where I came from. That turned into story after story after story, album after album, song after song, and it led into bringing some guests on. And then it led on to where we are now, where we're on all podcast apps and YouTube as well. So you could actually see it and hear it if you want. And it's something I love doing every single Monday morning. So this is hopefully on your drive to work or getting your week started on a Monday. So thank you for being with me. I'm grateful to have it. The most important thing I could tell you right now about me and my life is we have an album coming out in September, and I'm going to announce that album. I'm going to tell you everything about it, when exactly the day in September you could expect it, and what it's going to be about, and the songs that are going to be on it. On August the 28th, I'm going to tell you that. That's when we're going to announce it. We're going to give you the pre-order link, the pre-save link for the streaming services, and you'll be able to hear some examples. I'm probably going to go on social media and show you a little bit of every song at that point. So the point being, there's like, if you're listening real time on this podcast, in like 3 weeks, you're going to get all that info. And that is a big deal to me because I've worked so hard on this album. It's been about 2 years in the making. There's a lot of songs, a lot of stories, and I think it's my best work I've ever done. This is my 10th studio album, and I think it's my best one. I know that everyone says that, and even I've said that in the past, but it feels different now. It feels like my best. So I'm pumped. It's not the first time I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to wear you guys out about it just because I'm so excited, and I want to hear how these songs in this period of my life, 2019 and 2020, the songs I wrote and produced during this time, I want to know how they bounce off of your life and how you react to them and which ones speak to you and which lyrics speak to you and which melodies make you want to jump in your truck and roll the windows down and drive and which ones make you want to get a big old cup of coffee and soak it all in. Which ones make you want to crack a beer and be with your buddies and light a bonfire, and which makes you want to contemplate life. I want to know that, and I get just so excited. It's for an artist, for a musician, it's like Christmas morning when your album comes out and you finally get to see everyone react to your work, good and bad. Even bad's good. Even when people say it sucks, it's like, well, they listened. And that's feedback. So that's better than someone not hearing anything. It's better than indifference. Like, I don't even care. Granger has an album, I don't even care. It's better if they say, I hate it. Because that means I got to you. The music got to you, and it made you react in some way. If you want to get a hold of me now, a really cool way to talk to me now is through Cameo. There's an app. You could download the Cameo app. You can go to cameo.com, and then you could find me in the search. And you could book me to say anything you want on a video message. So I could say happy birthday or congratulations or happy anniversary or welcome home from deployment, or I've done just pick-me-ups like, hey, talk to my sister. She's going through a tough time. Will you just tell her something funny? I've done ones for someone that asked for themselves for me to tell them something or answer a question. So it's a cool thing. I do it daily. Cameo, Cameo, and I love doing it. And it's a really good way for me to keep good touch with you guys. And I wish that we were touring. I just had another tour date cancel. From when you're watching this real time, we were playing in North Platte, Nebraska this coming Saturday. It just got canceled. I found out yesterday. So frustrating to know that we're still dealing with this virus and that shows are still canceling. Now, I was at a point when I thought that we're going to even out now. Like, it's not going to get any worse. And I think what I'm kind of learning is the shows that we're going to play are going to be in red states that are small towns, that are upper Midwest type scenarios where it's run by a local venue and they follow the rules, and it's not city or county or a committee run at all, because those seems to be the ones that want to cancel, or the fairs and the committee run things that have too much liability. So we do the weekend after next. We are out. We have a three-day run. I believe it's like Missouri, Kansas, maybe Nebraska again. Wyoming. Wyoming's in there. So we're trying, guys. We're trying to get out. We're trying to tour. And I wish we were with you right now. And we will be really soon. And in the meantime, I hope I could scratch that itch by releasing new music in this new album. Today's podcast, I'm going to bring back my brother Parker Smith, who is our CEO here at Yee Yee Apparel. He's our brand manager. He's a smart dude. Not just saying that because he's my brother, but Tyler and I, we worked really hard on getting Parker to work here. And I know that sounds crazy, but there was a lot of feeling like, hey, we don't want to bring him in just because he's our brother. And we don't want to just, just bring him in because we feel sorry for him or he's left out. We legitimately fought for him to come here because he had a lot of good job offers, a lot of places he could have gone. And or at least I did. Tyler was worried that if we convinced him to come, he would be disappointed. But what ended up happening is Parker came here and just really set the company. We were doing good, but he set us on a whole new level and set a new trajectory, which we're not there yet. We have a long way to go, but we're on a great trajectory. And God, thank God every day for Yee Yee Apparel during this touring shutdown when I have no other work but this in songwriting. So anyway, Parker went on social media and asked questions from his Instagram, which is a little bit of a twist for this podcast. He's going to come on right now. I think you're going to love it. He's an awesome dude. Welcome to the Granger Smith Podcast.
Dead cans and diesel, mud tires and smoke. Long line of 4x4s bumping down an old back road. Granger coal once high, it's a redneck invasion. Yeah, you're rocking with that Yee Yee Nation.
All right. So you have collected questions. This is the first time somebody else has collected questions for this podcast. So Parker, you went to your Instagram and you got some questions. And this was kind of your idea for this podcast today. So I'm going to let you lead it. We're going to go through some brother questions. They're probably brother related. And since you're also closely working with me, it's also Yee Yee related. So what you got?
Yeah, I think it's cool when people give you an idea of what's going on behind the scenes, and especially with us, I think Q&As are so cool, especially for brands that I like. I like to hear about what's going on behind the scenes, and So I just did a Q&A on my Instagram story, and I got some pretty entertaining questions, some pretty funny ones. I tried to pick the ones that would be the most enjoyable to the listeners. So, first we have, what do you and your brothers bond over, especially with you being so young? And this was an interesting question because I feel like a lot of brother relationships, our relationship has kind of been the opposite of what most brother relationships are, in that like you're usually close when you're young, and then as you get older, you get a family, and then you get a job, and then you move to a different city, and then you see your brothers on holidays.
Sure.
And with me being the youngest, I was basically an only child as a kid. And you were basically like an uncle to me, if I'm being honest. Like, I would see you on holidays, and like, that's it. And so I didn't really know you that well. It sounds bad to say that, but anybody has a big age gap with a brother or sister kind of understands what I mean.
Because you weren't aware during your younger years when I was with you and you were a young kid. You probably don't even remember those days, because we're 13 years apart. So I remember you as a baby and as a toddler and as a little kid and as like a elementary school kid, but those are probably vague memories to you. And your age of reckoning, I was off to college and making music.
Yeah, it was. You like had this job that I didn't understand. It was just what it was. You were out doing music, and that was just. People think they're like, what's it like having a brother who's a musician? And like my childhood, it just seems normal. That may sound crazy, but whenever you just grow up with something and then you get older and you're like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool, or that was pretty out of the ordinary, for me, that was just normal. So anyway, back to the question, what do we bond over? When I was younger, it was just Texas A&M football, because I'd see you on holidays, and then our whole family. My dad went to Texas A&M, Granger went to Texas A&M, and then I ended up going there. And so my childhood was holidays watching Texas A&M play Texas, and then also deer hunting, because we'd usually go to our ranch. And so we kind of bonded over that from a young age. And me as a child literally crying when A&M lost to Texas because we took it so seriously.
What year was that?
I don't know. We lost a lot when I was a kid. We had some rough years.
That was 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Dennis Franchione. Terrible years.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as we got older, we bond with work, really.
Yeah.
And working out. We all work out together.
Yeah. Yeah, we you working with us. I never say for us. I always correct myself. It's with us, because you are pretty much in charge of your whole realm of Yee Yee, and Tyler's in charge of his realm, and I'm in charge of mine. And then we intersect daily, but it's in the scope of what we do for Yee Yee. You do a lot more by yourself, and I do a lot more by myself, and Tyler's a lot more by himself than we do intersecting. But we intersect daily, 2 or 3 times a day. In fact, we've been on Zoom calls today already twice today over 2 completely different things. And it's like, oh, there's Parker. And your role has also changed since Tyler's out of town with the Bachelorette. Your role has increased. But yeah, to say we bond over work is saying it lightly, because I mean, my office is here, your office is too over there, and we see each other every single day, especially me not being on tour. So, yeah, for sure.
That segues into the next question, which was, how many people work at Yee Yee Apparel, and how's it grown stage by stage? I'll go over this. I'll give you the short answer, because I think I covered this a little bit in the last episode that I was in, but it's a cool story, and I don't think people heard. I don't remember if you said this last time, but where Yee Yee Apparel was at before it was Yee Yee Apparel with just you and Amber shipping out of your garage. Originally, you were just an artist selling shirts, and you were shipping them yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was you and Amber out of that garage.
Before that, Mom was shipping some stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Mom, somebody bought a CD. His name is Bob George, and here's his address. Let me write it down for you.
Yeah. Oh, we got a sale.
We got a sale today.
So 2011 hits, and then Earl Dibbles Jr. comes around, and Tyler's acting as manager for you, and then also Tyler kind of takes over the ordering of the apparel and kind of takes over the management of the apparel side, which was at the time just buy shirts with Earl Dibbles Jr.'s face on them and sell them. And we did that for a while, but it wasn't, Yee Yee wasn't its own brand. It was just sell them on the Granger Smith store, and you just also had Yee Yee stuff there. And so kind of what my job was so that was like from 2012. That was probably like 4 years of that, of Tyler trying to do both, right?
Yeah.
And then Tyler with one other person shipping and then handling customer service and returns and exchanges and stuff. And then I went to Texas A&M and then graduated. And then my job was to come in and sell Yee Yee Energy, which I've talked about a little bit before. And energy drinks, we were talking about this the other day. Energy drinks are just very difficult for startup brands like we were, because they're so heavy. They're really expensive to ship, and it's just really hard to be successful as a small business selling energy drinks. And we couldn't get them into stores because at the time I didn't know that the best way to do that was to connect with a sales rep who actually knows the owners of Tom Thumb and H-E-B and, Shell gas station and that sort of thing. And so I realized over time that was going to be an uphill battle. And I was like, well, these shirts are selling really well, and these hats are selling really well. And so then I just began to look at, how do we increase the quality of these products so that we can grow the apparel side? And over time, very slowly, if you bought a hat or a shirt from us in like from 2012 to 2016, God bless you. Because we wore them and we liked them, and at the time they were good. But looking back now, it's just almost humorous how much we didn't know what we were doing and the quality of them.
Hey, speak for yourself. I still have some of those hats and shirts. They're awesome. We call them the OGs.
Yeah, it's just that's a world that's it's just a big learning curve, and you don't know what you don't know. And so I came in, and so I just slowly started building up the quality of the products and the shirts and the hats, and trying to meet the people that I needed to meet to hit the standards that we needed to hit. And then that was like 2016 to 2018 to 19, where we just slowly got better. And that was still just me in our leased office in Hutto, Texas. And we had one other person shipping and handling returns and exchanges. And then I'd say 2018, 2019, like these last 2 years have been where we've really shifted to think bigger. And I've just modeled what I've seen some other brands do, in that it's like, okay, you create collections based on the type of year it is and the season that it is. So we create, a spring collection, and then a summer collection, and then a fall collection, and then have products that actually like portray like what you'd be doing that time of the year. Like spring's going to be brighter colors and like have fishing, and then fall is going to be like camo and hunting stuff. And so it's just slowly evolved from that to people asking me a lot, was there like a certain point, like a certain shift or like a big moment for Yee Yee Apparel that was like a cornerstone of the business? And I'd say this last April when we did Yee Yee Day, which was Tyler's idea, which was to celebrate the day that we trademarked Yee Yee. Or was it the day? Yeah, it was the day we trademarked it, right? And so we bought a bunch of exclusive products that were only going to be available that day. And we were like, this day, this time, this stuff is going to release. And then we got a cool countdown clock on the website. And then we sold out of everything in like like 10 minutes, you were on Instagram Live talking about it. And I was like, dude, we're already out of everything.
You're like, hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Into the call, because I'm like, everybody go to Yee Yee Apparel. It's Yee Yee Day. Make sure you get this. We got a big sale. And you come in there and you're like, hang up the phone. The sale's over.
Yeah.
We're sold out of everything.
Yeah, so we were not expecting that at all. And that was the day where we sat back and we're like, holy cow, like I think this could be really big. And so that kind of leads us to where we are now with we have a lot of people are curious as to like who our employees are. So you and Tyler, I categorize as owners. You still have a lot of say in like what products we make and like the type of designs that we do and that sort of thing. But when it comes to the day-to-day operations, I handle the day-to-day and kind of oversee what we call the Yee Yee brand side. And then the other side of the Yee Farm office is Yee Distribution, which for people who don't know what that means, basically it's just employees shipping the product out to you guys at home. And a lot of people have pay somebody else to do that, but we just always wanted to do it ourselves because nobody does it. If you want to do something right, you do it yourself. And I know that you and Tyler had a lot of issues with other people shipping your stuff for you. And so we like it because we can do awesome like camo boxes and camo poly mailers, and the bags that they're shipped in are all custom Yee branded, and so they look cool. And so we have, on the brand side, we have myself overseeing operations, Hayden, who handles all of our marketing. And if you're a big enough support to watch this podcast, you are likely in the Yee Nation Facebook group. And if you're not, you should check it out. And you'll probably know Hayden from that, where he's always talking about new products and what we're releasing and keeping everybody. He does an awesome job of just keeping the conversation going between the brand and the people in Yee Nation. And Maddie handles all of our, on the distribution side, Maddie handles all of our customer service and our returns and exchanges. So anytime you ever return something to us, that's Maddie dealing with it. Or if you email us, it's Maddie. It's not somebody in another country. And she's amazing. And then Caleb, who handles our all of our warehouse. He's our warehouse manager, so he handles incoming inventory, outgoing inventory, day-to-day shipping, and keeping track of everything in that warehouse, which is a full-time job.
And Caleb is an old drummer of mine.
Yeah.
He was my drummer from about 2009 to about 2013 when Dusty came in, and Caleb essentially retired and started working for us.
Yeah. And he's been awesome for that role.
Yeah.
He's been really good, and he's hilarious. So if you guys follow Yee Yee Apparel on Instagram, you'll see him on our story. Whenever we do behind the scenes of what's going on here, you may see Caleb saying some joke.
Caleb Kelly.
Yeah. And so Caleb is our warehouse manager, and those are all the salaried employees. And then we have anywhere from 5 to 15 hourly employees that come in and help ship during launches. And so usually we're just texting. I'm literally going through every contact in my phone. Like our next launch is September 18th. So it's kind of calm right now. And I need to get like 10 to 12 more people by September 18th to help out.
Is that a job offer you're making on this podcast? A comment below. I want to work for Yee Yee Apparel.
Yeah. If you're interested in working hourly and you're in the Georgetown, Texas area, you can email me, parker@yeeyeeapparel.com. And yeah.
Dangerous move you just made. Bold.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are now. I think that sums it up. That was kind of a long answer, but I love talking about the progression. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people asked, where do you see yourself in 10 years, 5 to 10 years, and what's the goal of Yee Yee? Granger and I were just talking about this the other day, the idea of goal setting in general. I've always been somebody who likes to map out and visualize exactly where we're going to be in 10 years. And why don't you explain to them your goal strategy?
Yeah, I like to set, instead of setting goals, specific goals, I like to set intentions. And so strive for an intention. So if your intention is to grow this brand as big as it can be, and strive every day to meet that intention, day by day by day by day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And it's a continual thing, because I believe there's a little bit of danger, and I think there's nothing wrong with setting specific goals. But so we'll use Yee Yee Apparel for example. So you say, well, in 5 years, we want Yee Yee Apparel to have quadrupled in growth. Okay, so that's a specific goal, and you put it on a blackboard and you monitor it. But if you didn't set your intention first and foremost for Yee Yee brand to grow as much as it could, then you just missed the opportunity that perhaps Yee Yee Apparel actually is not going to quadruple in 5 years. Actually, Yee Yee Apparel is going to spin off into Yee Yee Whiskey. And then that suddenly is going to become a massive company that completely swallows up apparel, and we end up not even selling hats at all. So it's impossible sometimes to see those kind of things, and you could get blindsided by them, or you could be blinded in the general sense of, okay, we're in the apparel business, and we're going full steam ahead to get to our goal, which is quadrupling in 5 years, and you have it mapped out, and then you miss the chance that Yee Yee Whiskey was going to take you. And I'm just completely there is no Yee Yee Whiskey in production at all right now. But I'm just using that as a random example of how, look at me 10 years ago, and if I would have said, well, my goal is to get a record deal and to have songs on the radio and to grow musically and touring wise. If I had set that exact goal, I would have missed the opportunity to come up with a YouTube channel that had Earl Dibbles Jr. and the Smiths, and which completely is the reason that we spun off into Yee Yee Apparel. We might have missed that whole thing if I was only focused on a specific goal of music. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with setting goals. It's healthy, but at the same time, don't make that your God. Don't make that your idol, where you look at a blackboard and you go, man, we're slipping. We're not at the exact number I want it to be. You can't miss the opportunity that might be in front of you. And so instead, set your intentions higher than your goals. Even though on the team, I do like to have someone like you that actually has specific goals. Because then I walk in and go, how are we on a goal? And you go, actually, we doubled it, which is usually what happens.
Yeah, we're a good mix of line-by-line analytical thinkers, being myself and Hayden a little bit more on the business side, and then you and Tyler, who are more of the dreamers and ready to pivot and stay open-minded. That transitions nicely to...
Before you say that too, let me use a even better example than Earl Dibbles for me. 15 years ago, if I would have said the goal is to get a record deal and to get a #1 song on the radio, if that was my goal, I would have lived in Nashville. I would have done nothing but make demos and pitched them to record companies relentlessly until somebody finally said yes. But instead, my goal was to grow my music. My intention, was to grow my music as big as it could be, day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. And that ended up making me stay independent, no record deal, no major radio play, but continue to cultivate a underground cult following almost, with no record deal and no major radio play. And that wouldn't have been a goal. Like if you had got me when I was 18 and said, write down a goal, I never would have said, stay independent, create a cult following in Texas without major radio play. I've been like, whoa, that doesn't make any sense. That's an example of setting an intention.
What's one thing that Granger and Tyler have done that inspired you? Growing up, I was, you and Tyler were never you wouldn't make it a day in an office. And I was always okay when I was in college, I was always okay with the corporate lifestyle and being in the 9 to 5. And I was kind of attracted to that, just like I'm sure a lot of 21-year-old guys are, that, idea of like wearing the suit. And to me, it was wearing the suit and making money and working your way up a ladder. And that was appealing to me personally. And it was always crazy to me that you and Tyler were okay with just taking this huge risk of just, one of the other questions was, do you have any childhood stories of you, Granger, and Tyler? And a lot of my childhood, like some of the craziest childhood stories were me being in the back of this van back when there was just a couple people that would come to your shows, and I would get to go on tour like for the weekend with my brother, and like no one knew. It was like, Parker's going, what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. I'm going to like Oklahoma with, no, it was definitely in Texas, because you were mostly in Texas at the time.
Yeah, a few
like,
Oklahoma dates.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, we're going somewhere in Oklahoma, and Granger's going to play some shows. And being in the back of this van with all these guys that just seemed so old to me at the time. I was probably like 13 or 14, being in the back of this van, and like everybody taking turns driving through the night, and like these bunk beds that y'all built in the back of this van, and stopping at a gas station to get your dinner for the night, and just like me going in and like I would ask Granger, be like, can I have like $10? And you give me some money, and I'd go and like get Lunchables and like a Gatorade and like some cookies, and like from like a Shell gas station. I was like, do you just do this like every weekend? And I'd go and eat, and then they'd like put on a movie in the front and be watching like Die Hard at like 3:00 in the morning, like on like a Thursday night. I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, how do people do this?
We became masters of eating a complete meal from a gas station convenience store. We became masters, and not just like chips and the hot dog. We actually could get like a complete meal in a gas station, and that was dinner, because everything would be closed at 2:00 in the morning when we leave the club. The entire town, wherever we were, the little town would be closed, so just had to hit the next truck stop.
They would all put their driver's license, and I was too young to drive, so I always felt guilty that I got to sleep through the night, but they would all put their driver's license in somebody's hand, and then mix them up, and then they draw them to see what shifts they would be driving that night. And there'd be a driver, and then there'd be like a co-pilot who'd have to stay awake with them in the front seat while everybody else slept. And yeah, what a weird time. That seems like a dream to me now, and I can't believe y'all did that.
Let me take a quick break. Be right back.
Do you have any tattoos? I do not have any tattoos. Are you going to get any more?
Do you plan on getting? I definitely will. I have some ideas.
I would get one. I'd probably get one on my arm. I'd want to get something like for our grandfather, like an old. Those of you who know Granger know that our grandfather was a B-24 bomber pilot in World War II, and I always thought it'd be cool to get like an old B-24 or something like that. And I always thought it was cool when like brothers or sisters get like the same tattoo, so it's like you're all marked with the same thing.
I'll do a B-24. Just got to find the design.
Yeah, I would get one. One thing that's funny about tattoos is after you get the first one, how easy it is to just get the next one. And so, I don't know. I feel like I would just get like a whole sleeve if I got a couple.
You might. Chris Lee, our tour manager, he had none, and then now he's pretty much got his whole arm full just after one, with just a few years.
I'm not a big fan of the color, though. I like it just black.
Yeah.
But
we'll hold you to it on this podcast. We'll hold you to it. I'll get more. I have some ideas. They always have to mean something deep and long-lasting.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be with you forever. Yee Yee cowboy hat or boots? Question mark.
Man, could I just say this hat I'm wearing is my favorite hat we've ever done?
Yeah,
I know it's not a Yee Yee cowboy hat, but for those of y'all watching, that is, yeah, for the YouTube audience that actually gets to see it. This is brand new. Parker gave it to me yesterday because it's in our fall collection, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, I love it.
Yeah, September 18th. That one, and then you'll see Granger wearing a camo one with a flag on it. And those of you who watch the Smiths YouTube channel, the other camo one that he showed last night, will be in the fall collection. So
they're
tuned.
asking Yee Yee cowboy hat or boots as if that's a choice that we're going to make.
Asking if we're going to make either of those.
Okay. Well, what about boots? Because that's kind of been in the works for years now.
Yeah, we were going to do combat boots for a while, and we just I still have them, and I still think they would do well. I still think they're awesome. Those of you who have seen what my office looks like, I got a combat boot in there that was a sample. But we did finally confirm production of a pair of work square-toed cowboy boots, leather.
Oh, yeah.
So those will be, hopefully, everything's kind of behind in COVID, but there's an awesome factory in Mexico that is cranking those out right now. We're hoping to have them by holidays.
Cool. Yeah,
Christmas.
I do know that. It's awesome.
Yeah. And you were very particular about your boots.
Yeah.
And you were very skeptical when we got the sample. And
I was like, no.
Yeah. And no, but then you put it on and you were like, these are awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
You get rubber soles?
They're a synthetic.
Okay.
It's like a good mix between like the genuine leather that wears down a lot, and then the rubber, which kind of stands out and is like fake. We got like a middle ground between that, so like the color blends really nicely, but it's not going to wear down. You won't have to get it replaced after 6 months. It's going to last forever.
Cool.
Cowboy hats. No, I don't have a contact for cowboy hats, and that's
Caleb at Mad Hatters.
Oh yeah.
That's possible. If we get enough people interested in cowboy hats, we do have a guy. But that's like, you can't just, an apparel company can't just come out with a cowboy hat. I mean, because you got to have so many different sizes, and it would have to all be custom ordered. And, a good cowboy hat is not the kind you get at a gas station. A good cowboy hat is made of good material, fitted to your head. And so I wouldn't want to just put out some trash that's like a trinket tourist attraction cowboy hat. I would, if we did it, it would need to be good, and to do it good, I just don't know if we have the resources right now. If this warehouse is even big enough to hold all the different sizes, it would have to be custom. Then you would order it, and it would take 6 months to come in. So that's going to take a lot of thought, and a lot of people would have to be really interested in that.
Yeah. That segues into one of the questions, which was who comes up with the designs, and what's your general business model? Like, how do you keep up with inventory? And we've grown so much. I used to come up with the designs. Granger used to come up with the designs, and we would just have an idea for it, and then we'd send it to our different vendors who make the shirts for us, and they print them on the shirts for us here in the U.S. And we've gotten to the point where we're doing all these launches, and we have so many different types of products that like I can't do that anymore. So I actually recently got in touch with the manufacturer who does Patagonia, North Face, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, like those. They do the big boys, and so I'm super excited because basically what they do is you approach them, and I'll be like, hey, I'm looking for ideas for our fall 2021 launch. I'm looking to do 4 hats, 5 men's shirts, 5 men's hoodies, 5 women's hoodies, and 5 women's shirts. And then I give them the general gist of our brand. Like I just had a call the other day, and you tell them your brand story and types of brands that you're similar to. And then they have a whole design team that puts together like a whole pitch and portfolio for you. And then we go in and we're like, yes, yes, yes. And then we have the final say, and we adjust it. And
or more like no, yes.
Yeah, lots of no's probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. Is there jealousy or resentment among the brothers? A lot of people ask that. No, not at all. There's really not. No.
We're just different. We're three brothers that are different, and we're not an original story. I mean, if you talk to most siblings, they're just, you get some siblings that are very, very similar. They like everything the same. They dress exactly the same. But most siblings I know are not like that. There's usually, it's come out of the same mom and dad, but they talk and dress and do different jobs. And that's kind of how we do. And we're different people, but we have the same moral values, and we align with our beliefs in country and when I say country, nationalism and outdoors and God and family. We align on those things, but when it comes to other things like getting on the stage and entertaining or playing guitar, that's just me. You guys don't have that desire at all. And there's things Tyler does, like Tyler's all into real estate and does that on the side. I have no desire for that. You go out and play golf. Me and Tyler don't play golf at all, but you go out. How often do you go play?
I go every day.
You go every day. And you play piano. How often?
Every day.
Every day. You play piano and play golf. Those are two things that me and Tyler, like I dabble in piano. I could write songs on piano, but that's it. So we all have our things. Like Tyler's out checking traps on coyotes right now. He loves trapping predators and he loves managing deer. Like he loves managing white-tailed deer more than he does shooting a deer. Way more. Because he works year-round managing and feeding and trapping coyotes. And me and you just kind of roll in at Thanksgiving and, and get what we can. So, yeah, we're different, but in a good way. We're different in good ways. So there's no jealousy.
Yeah, I like the saying, the more stable your upbringing is and the more you have parents who encourage you to do whatever you're passionate about, the more different you're going to become. And so we all have those, exactly like you just said, we're all grounded in the same like fundamental values, but we all are very different in our hobbies. I don't think any of us even share one hobby except for working out and just fitness. And
we've all had things that we've done. Like Tyler played Division I college football. You went into the Corps at A&M and tried out and got complete control of the Texas A&M mascot, Reveille, the dog, the American Collie, which was very difficult to do to defeat the odds of being the guy that's the mascot handler at a major university. So those are things that seem untouchable to me, getting the mascot or playing Division I college football. But I can get up on a stage in front of a bunch of people and sing songs, and you guys have no desire to do that. So, yeah, it's really cool.
Who's easier to work with, Granger or Tyler?
Choose your words wisely.
You are easier to work with than Tyler. Tyler is he's not difficult to work with, but if I have to choose, then Granger's more agreeable, and Tyler is Tyler. How do you describe Tyler?
Tyler's Tyler.
Yeah, he's
stubborn.
He's stubborn and hard-headed, which is how he got where he is and how he built the brand and Granger's career where it is.
Yeah, we can leave it at that. He's the most stubborn guy I know. It's not a bad thing, necessarily. Some days, there's moments when it's bad, but as a whole, that Tyler's Tyler, man. Tyler is one of the most unique humans I've ever met. He's different.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. He's a 1%er in his own way.
Yeah. It's going to be really funny to watch him on The Bachelorette and see his personality. It's going to be fun. And everybody who watches it that is listening to us right now is going to be like, oh, yeah, I kind of get it. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Who would win in a race?
Tyler.
Tyler, definitely.
Tyler's the fastest. That's why he played Division I college football. I remember the day that I was always kind of fast. Were you fast in high school, in junior high?
No, I wouldn't know.
I was always a fast runner. But I remember the day when he challenged me to a race and beat me. And that was like, I was probably 16 and he was probably 13. And I was like, ooh, there he goes. And it never ended. And then I remember one time, I'll never ever forget this, but I was playing soccer on a rec soccer team with a bunch of friends, and our goalie got hurt. And I was about 15 years old. Our goalie gets hurt. Tyler is about 12, and Tyler's on the sideline, and he played competitive soccer in his own right. He literally suited up. Did you know this story?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Tyler suits up as a 12-year-old, goes out there, and we're like, we don't have a goalie. And Tyler's like, I got it. And they're like, this little kid, dude, he comes in and just destroyed it. No one could score on him. And he was back there just wearing it out against all these like older teenagers. And everyone was like, who is your brother? This is unbelievable. He was just tearing up these kids. No one could score. I was so proud. He's always been very athletically inclined. You're literally scrolling for questions?
Yeah, I'm looking through to see if there's any other good ones.
How many questions did you get?
I didn't count. I got more than I thought I would, though.
What's your Instagram so people could follow you?
Parker _Smith.
So after The Bachelorette comes out and Tyler might get that blue check, you'll be the brother without the blue check.
Yeah.
Does that make you mad?
So pissed. Man, if I could just get that blue check, then I'd be happy, boy.
Yeah, that's true happiness, man.
Then I'll have made it.
Blue check on Instagram is true happiness, Bubba.
Mm-hmm. Are you dating Danielle Bradbury? No, I'm not dating Danielle Bradbury. That is so random.
I wonder who thought that. Maybe somebody saw her on a post and thought it was you.
I think that's it.
Well, that was good stuff.
Yeah.
It was a good idea.
That was fun.
If you want more questions from Parker, comment below on this if you're watching on YouTube. And we'll go back and scope out the comments here. And if you want Parker, again, this is his second time on this podcast. So if you want him again, lock that down. Tell him you say, we want Parker. Also, I got to say, let me ask you a question. Are you single right now?
Can we not do the Parker dating thing
I'm
again?
not. I just don't. I literally don't know.
I am single right now.
You're single right now.
Mm-hmm.
You talking to anybody or anything?
Not talking. No.
Okay.
Nope.
Not talking. And I won't ask people to set you up on here.
We have tried with Tyler and I before, and it's
we just do it as a joke. We do it for clickbait.
It's not successful.
We do it for clickbait. So before you go though, give us some important dates at Yee Yee Apparel we need to know about.
Okay. Actually, I do need to give an update. The back to school bundle will be available. This is coming out. This is Monday, right? So This is Monday morning. So it will be available this afternoon, Monday afternoon.
What day?
Actually, you know what? It'll be Monday. It'll be Monday morning.
So what date is that?
That's the 10th.
The 10th. August the 10th.
August 10th, the back to school bundle will be available. We had to push back a lot of y'all know we're doing women's leggings that are insane quality. They're going to be so good. I'm having to push those back. They got delayed. They'll be pushed back to the fall release, and which will be
18th.
The 18th of September, that's the big day for Yee Yee Apparel, where we're going to have a ton of stuff. It's going to be insane. It's going to be awesome. We have like five men's jackets, 4 new shirts, ton of women's stuff. New belt buckle. Actually, no, new belt buckle will be available around Christmas time. We have some awesome leather wallets that are going to be up for fall, and some socks, a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah.
So I can't exactly say it, but right around that time, we're also going to have my album release. So it's a really good time for Yee Yee. We will be announcing that album release August 28th, right?
Yeah.
So on August 28th, I'll make the official announcement about the album, what it consists of, what you need to know, when it's going to come out. But September is going to be a really good time for Yee Yee Apparel and the Yee Yee brand, and for Granger Music and for Earl Music. So, yeah, we're excited. Thanks for being on here, dude. Again.
Thanks for having me. Glad I can make the trip down.
Yeah, thanks for driving in from your office two doors down.
Mm-hmm.
All right, see you guys. Love you. Yee Yee.